Well, well, would you look at that, another retro supercar in Forza Horizon 3. It seems that's all I've been driving as of late, and they've been a ton of fun. I've honestly been finding a lot of cars that I've never driven before in any racing game, and have absolutely fallen in love with them, and this is another perfect example of that. I've never heard of this car, seen this car. I'm not too good with the older classic cars, to be honest, but this thing is absolutely awesome, and that BMW M1, come on, where are you at? He had no chance in this head-to-head race, but although the car classes were pretty close, I think he was like 730 in the A class, and this thing bone stock is 733, so he should have been able to keep up, but I think he crashed or something like that. But this thing, I gotta say, it's a very fun car, and although it's 3.1 million credits in Forza Horizon 3 for this little retro supercar, I think it is totally worth it. I mean, this thing, if nothing else, it's a collector's item, and it's a ton of fun to drive, though, in Forza Horizon 3. So, you can see all the statistics there. Makes almost 400 horsepower, just about 350 torque. But this thing has a twin-turbo V8, which is actually really cool. Once again with those pop-up headlights. I guess all the retro supercars have pop-up headlights, but this thing overall is a beautiful car. I absolutely love this thing. Inside and out, very nice car, and it also sounds really cool. I mean, the sound you're going to hear at the end of this video in some free roam gameplay very clearly, but I gotta say I love the way this twin-turbo V8 sounds, and it's a stock twin-turbo, which is absolutely awesome, and unfortunately though, I could not show it in the Forzavista. That is not an option, which I was really disappointed about because I personally just really wanted to see what it looked like, but it is nice because it's a mid-to-rear placement motor setup, and this car is rear-wheel drive, so that's always a good combination. 53% of the weight is in the back of the car to help with the car's grip, and like I said though, 3.1 million credits for this retro supercar. I was kind of surprised that this thing was that expensive, and some of the other cars that I've recently reviewed were nowhere near that price point, even though they're kind of similar cars. Even some of the Ferraris are nowhere near that expensive. So let's talk about the performance of this thing, and it is actually pretty light. It's 2,800 pounds bone stock, and this thing, it kind of looks a little bit heavier, honestly. Sometimes cars are way heavier than they look. This one looks a little bit heavier than it actually is, so a little bit different in that aspect as well. But the launch on this thing, it's pretty good. You saw it there not too long ago. It's not super fast. You definitely get wheel spin, and you kind of have an option. You can certainly go full throttle if you want to, but I recommend just tapping the gas a little bit just to get full grip a little bit quicker and get you off the line faster. But the acceleration on this thing is very good. It has a 5-speed transmission, super long gears, and although the car shifts kind of slowly, very slowly actually, I love the way it feels. I mean, that's kind of the cars that I like, is those longer gears. It doesn't really have to shift fast, but I just love long gears and good speed. I mean, this thing feels very fast for the A class, especially considering that it's in the lower part of the A class. You're not even quite at the middle of the A class with this thing, so that gives you a lot of room to work with, which is great. Now, the braking, I thought it would be a lot worse than it actually is, believe it or not. The braking isn't atrocious. It's certainly not amazing. It's just average, I would say. But the handling and the grip overall for this car is actually very good. I mean, look at how well I went around this turn. This turn is usually a headache for me. I'm not very good around that turn, but this thing went around it pretty easily, which was very impressive to me. Now, the thing is, though, you have to have throttle control, or else this thing will drift a lot and slide a lot, and you're also going to notice some sway, so it is important to really have throttle control. Make sure you're in the right gear as well. If you're in second gear, going around turns, the car's not going to feel all that great, because first gear goes up to about 60, and generally you're going to be under that when you're going around turns. So going into first gear is definitely recommended. It makes the grip feel better, and the car also turns way quicker and more smoothly. So if you want to drive this thing, you definitely need to know how to drive, because it's certainly not a car that anyone could pick up and do extremely well with. You do need to have a little bit of skill with this thing, but if you learn how to drive the car and get the right feel for it, it is a ton of fun. And also keep in mind though, you have plenty of room to max this thing out in the A class, and overall I love the thing because it sounds great, it looks really good, and I also enjoyed the performance. It has a unique feel, but I love the gears, it's fast, and I love the way it handles as well. I just have to You know, have throttle control for sure. Like I said though, it's one of those cars where if you're cruising around, you kind of just want to stay full throttle and slide around with the thing, but then when you race it, you got to completely change the way you drive it. So overall, I love this thing, but I want to know what everyone else thinks about this 288 GTO. Drop a like on this video if you like this car, but have a great rest of your day and enjoy this free roam gameplay and the car sounds. Vroom vroom.